Hey, yeah, welcome to Shop Talk Tuesday. This is Justin the Guy. I'm from Iowa Guy Bicycles. Sorry for the chaos and mess, but hey, we are in mid-season, and that alludes into our topic of today, burnout, right? Burnout is a true thing within, well, pretty much any industry, but the cycling industry, when you have a seasonal particular market that you're working in, you can experience burnout pretty much good portion of early to midway through your actually season. You kind of forget and you question decisions you made in your life getting up to this point. But anyway, been doing this for several years, and we want to address some of those particular hot topics within bike shop burnout and how to maybe help address some of those in the real time, and also kind of bring it as a community. And again, this is live, so if you're watching this on the replay, thank you for joining me. Also, if you have any comments or experiences of this particular topic or others, or just want to be part of the community, please comment below. I have other information in the description below about other things I do here at Iowa Guy Bicycles. And if it's Tuesday live, thanks for hanging out with Live Shop Talk Tuesday. Another little side note is the actual lives will not have, hopefully not have, add interruptions through the actual platform. Therefore, this is undisrupted, only kind of slipped in little pieces of my personal content. But other than that, it should be ad-free. And thank you for watching. And hey, let's just dive into this. Randy, thank you for chiming in. Oh, Texas checking in and on time. Hey, nice, Randy. Thank you for joining us. And this is, this is one of those topics like, I'm having a hard time finding a topic. I'm so busy. Oh, wait. It's like one of those, this is a good one to talk about. Although I'm not experiencing it too horribly like in years past, but this does kind of get me in a scenario where, yeah, I've been there, I've done it, it's been hard, all those things. So I wanted to bring it to light and basically bring it to the community on the cycling portion of it, of mechanics and bike shop owners and so forth. Basically rally around as a community and basically hopefully bring some community feel and insights to help get you through these tough, busy times. And it is busy in a different way busy than years before. We'll go into that in a little bit as well. I got a laundry list of bullet points to talk about. So it's going to be a nice chaptered up little video here. I was going to do just a breakdown, work on a bike video like I did last week, but the garage is getting too darn hot. It's quick in the day, so I really needed to jump on this bad boy, knowing you get it finished. I'm about wrapped up, so we'll do the finishing touches while we're touching upon these particular topics as we're going through it. But in any case, it is Tuesday. Thank you for joining me. I feel like I need to fix one of my lights, and I got kids' bikes in the way, and my bike's in the way, and customers' bikes in the way. Hopefully this will help out with lighting. In any case, I hope everybody is doing well. It's one of those situations where, yeah, burnout is pretty darn thing. In any case, I'll jibber jab for a couple more minutes here before we go into the topic list of stuff here. A little more organized, which is oddly being that organized this time of year. But while we're waiting for people to chime in, I'll tell you what I'm currently working on today is a beautiful Le Mans. I'm not even going to say it. Versailles. I don't know. I've already butchered it. I got corrected several times, and I just can't learn it a different way. It's just like kind of like that hillbilly that just won't change his ways. So what we got going on this particular one, hopefully you can hear me. I had to get some new mics, new phone, new mics, new plugs, all that, Anyway, I'll try to keep the profanity down since we're all stressed out this time of year. In any case, this particular bike, I do have a featured video on Kirk. He is a local legend, advocate to cycling. Every bike shop, if you're doing things right, will have a couple of these individuals that basically help you realize this is what you're doing this for. Right? Kirk is one of those individuals that when he hit retirement, he decided he needed to do something a little more healthier, and got back into riding. He just did some, novice riding before that, anything serious, just, hanging out with the kids and so forth growing up. But in any case, his story, I will add that link later to my video, or you can look at my in the library. Kirk, I believe it is, local legend. He got a bike, which is this one. He bought it for me. Totally noob in a sense, renew noob, and got himself a smoking hot carbon Le Mans with carbon coat, they're not carbon wheels, but they have carbon flare to it, or I don't know, deep dish. They're kind of nice, and it had Ultegra 105 componentry 10-speed triple, so it hit all the checks. When he came in, I fitted to him, and he started riding. Well, fast forward today, he is now a very huge advocate for the cycling community in Greeley, Colorado. Really helps with the Pruder Trail and get it extended. And he has put 12,000 miles on this bike since he purchased it from me. So that being said, that's just a huge testimonial to use. If maintained and treated right, they can last a long time. And it didn't have a terrible amount of use before when I first did the thing, refurbishing and flipping it. But he has basically taken his retirement and made it a full-time job of being advocates of cyclists. Therefore, he has brought to me several people, half a dozen or so, to get into cycling. And these are younger lads that work at his local pub that he likes to go hang out at, a brewery. Wellworks is one of them in Greeley. Shout out to those guys. And he'll pop a picture to, text me or what have you, going on group rides and so forth. Well, this is in for a little refresher tune-up, and I'm about finished. I'm re-waxing chains, so I'm shedding the the extra chain wax off of this to kind of help manipulate it and actually do it. And you can also do this on the bike. This is basically a cheap $10, $20 chain cleaner that's never been used to clean chain, so there's no contaminants there. But that really helps makes the chain pliable for reinstalling. You needed new cables and housing, and what else? New tires. I did a little ceramic coating, polishing, cleaned the drivetrain. The housing was kind of worn out, so we did that to make it shift a little bit smoother. Also elevated his cassette to instead of 25 to 27, if this is a technical aspect of it. Gives him just a couple more gear teeth to climb those hills. And his goal, and this is where it gets heart-touching, his goal is to ride his age, and did it last year. Every year to ride his age. He hit 70, which is a pretty good milestone for all of us, to hit 70 and still riding and being active. Well, he hit that last year, and this year he turned 71, so he's getting ready to do that ride to hit 71 miles. He had a hiccup, like all of us in life, and this kind of alludes to what we're going to talk about, burnout, but stress and whatever and what have you, and diets and all that. I'm not going to get into all that details, but our local legend, well loved in the community, had himself a heart attack on St. Patrick's Day this year. Since he has been riding, not much damage to the heart tissue. It was a pretty full blockage. They were pretty amazed how there wasn't that much damage. Once they put the stent in, you got a clear bill in health. It's like, go do things. So it did not kill him, number one. That's a good thing, because that hits my heartstrings, because my dad, he died from a heart attack, and also my uncle. So I've had family members, that abrupt death in your family is just horrifying. And he was able to identify the issues, listen to his body, got checked out, had a stent put in. Bam, he's doing rehab, and sure enough, dollars to donuts, about 4 months later, 5 months later, he's going to ride 71 miles. I mean, so cool. And hopefully, or possibly, a good chance that his current riding has strengthened his heart up to a point where it was minimal damage. So his rehab, which he's still going through rehab and all that, is very minimal, and therefore he still can ride, and he's with us today. And I mean, not here today, but he's with us alive on the planet, and he's going to pick up this bike later today or early tomorrow, and this weekend he's going to do a training ride of something like 50 or 60 miles to get ready for the 71-mile ride. So kudos to Kirk. Watch his video. Great story. I have it in the library. I'll put the link in the description below after this. But this is what I'm working on. So this is where when you have those people rolling in your shop, you don't know their story. And this one is a fantastic story. And it really makes you take a pause, not just in your own life, but as well as your business, and go, oh, whoa, this is why we do this. Well, a lot of us. I mean, a lot of us, do it. Some of us do it for other reasons, but basically, hopefully, it's a common thread amongst most bike shops and people in the bike industry, from corporate to non-corporate. We just love riding bikes, and we want to share that with a plethora of different people out there. So, in any case, that is my over-lengthy intro of heartfelt story of this awesome bike. Polished it up, got some ceramic coating there from Ceramic Slam, cleaned these grips up. I found this stuff. This is car products, but it's hyper clean from lithium, and I use this on bar tape. You spray it on the bar, and you spray it on a rag, and you just kind of massage the towel, a cleaner towel. It pulls all that grime off. I took a pair of white bar tape and used this just for giggles, and it made the grunginess go away. At least you weren't going ew when you looked at it. Same case here. So just a little tech tip there. And at the end, think about this. If you're watching this from the beginning on the replay, oh, I froze. Am I frozen? What's going on? Okay, maybe. Okay, this is probably a good place to. It's brought to you by Medem Bikes, where you can find bicycles that won't break the bank. Great brands like Univega and Vin Diesel, but give you a good quality, safe ride to be able to do those extended rides and get into cycling. You'll find a link below with added savings. Extend that adventure starting now. Hopefully we're back. I don't know. Internet, mechanic issues, whatever. That's where you, when you do live, this is what you got. So I'm going to have a little plug there. Hopefully everybody can still see me or hear me, and let's go. So yeah, in any case, did some cleaning on some bar tape, which makes a less EU factor. And then I put another coat of, I'm trying it out. It's kind of like multi-purpose, ceramic wax kind of thing, to put on the tape itself afterwards to help beating. You can also use the Ceramic Slam as well as material. So if you're using a plastic or that kind of thing, it seems to work pretty well. In any case, thanks, Levi. Thank you for chiming in. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, Randy. All right, let's dive into this. This is some cool stuff. Yeah, it sounds doom and gloomish on the title. I'll put a funner thumbnail. I just didn't. It's July, or like peak season for anybody that does work on bikes. We've had a big push for, it doesn't matter what time of year your peak season is. If you have a peak season, you'll have this kind of heartburn. You'll have a couple months of like big events, and people are just getting their bikes in and whatever, and they're training and all that. So like the MS-150, the triple bypass, the Foco Fondo, the Ragbri is going on right now. All these different rides, and they're like bam, 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 and then they're like, whoa, okay, you took care of all those cats to do all that. Then all of a sudden, now you have your just local yokels that want to have their bikes worked on and keep going and refreshed and doing their own thing. That doesn't end. It just gets crazy. And for us, with here in Colorado, our climate has kind of shifted to colder in the springs, a lot hotter in hell through July, August, September, now in October. So we've extended our riding season, it feels like it could be, if we don't have too cold of a spring, into way later in the fall, bucking up against Thanksgiving even sometimes. So that there alludes that our downtime is really just January, February. In that, I wouldn't call it downtime. It's just like get your stuff together for the next chaos. There is a lot of shops out there that are busy year round, like in San Diego, Seattle, places like that, where they'll have, some seasonality, but it's pretty consistent all the time. But this is more like burnout. It's related to those who have seasons that are short, hit hard and fast and come back and slow, or you're shifting gears and doing winter or off-season type of events and so forth. That just like gets completely insane. But in any case, going into all of that, let's see here, do 13 as intro. I'm going to do some marking here so I can easily do this later. So, strategies of managing burnout now while you're in the mix and the hot, heavy craziness of it, like I just mentioned. That being said, it's like you're you're going through a lot of issues, and especially a lot of seasonality. If you have staff, sometimes you have newer staff. You're trying to get them all worked in. You have seasonal staff, and you're trying not to burn them out because you need to keep them through the rest of the year. And then you got yourself. If you're the manager or owner of a shop or running a shop, then you have your own stresses you got to deal with. And there's a lot of those things that circumferences that. And customers coming in, and you're trying to keep the same consistency of warm hug, customer support, community building through this particular period of time. Well, what are those things? And I got a couple bullet points here. Prioritizing and dedicated, possible. Identify the absolute must-do takes and tackle those first. Like today, prioritize. I got to get this done. I got to get those shifters packed before I even do the Talk Shop live. And yes, I'm cranking at 6 a.m. But my schedule is a little more flexible in the sense I do start early, and I do take a little break. We'll talk about that in a minute here. But tackling those items, at the end of the day, have your laundry list of things that must do's and so forth for the next following day. That really kind of helps if you have a change in management and so forth. Have like a ledger of some sort or note system or email platform to notify these are the things that need to be worked on and focused on for the next day. This customer's coming in at this time and so forth. Communication is key. It really helps lessen the stress down. Nobody wants that customer coming in and they're asking for something that was supposed to be done and you don't have any clue. A lot of your shops already have those policies in there, but newer shops have not done those seasonality type things, and that's an easy one to do right off the gate for sure. Just making sure your priority lists are taken care of and check those off on the board, and that makes it a lot easier for you. The second thing is setting boundaries. That's pretty. It sounds simple. Set those boundaries. It's tough in the busy season to establish a firm opening and closing. You got to set boundaries for yourself too. Like I'm only going to start working this time. I need to take a break here and push away from that. I got to stop eating lunches at my bench. I need to take a 10, 15-minute walk to the coffee shop, or take a longer test ride on a brand new bike out in the parking lot, go out of the neighborhood or whatever just to take those mental breaks. Myself, I do take those breaks. Mine is I have lunch, and luckily I'm working from home. I just go take a quick power nap, like a 15, 30 minute, depending how bad my sleep was before, thinking about the day. But I take a power nap, and what that helps me just, my age, napping is really good because that takes the second half of my day and makes it super productive versus walking through sludge and trying to get through it. So those kind of particular protection boundaries for yourself, for your shop, protect your staff. And when I worked in corporate, we were required to make sure everybody took their 10-minute, 15-minute breaks, their lunch breaks. They need to get the hell out of the store. Those were set by law. You need to basically incorporate that into a small shop with employees, in addition to make that a norm kind of scenario. Not like, oh, well, James always works through lunch, so he makes it stressful. Like, no, James needs to take lunch like everybody else. It's just you have to have consistency, be uniformed about it throughout all the staff, including the upper management. They need to take their breaks too. If you're a sole one-man band like I am, you got to build those in. A lot of those times inherently builds those in, but you got to do it because you get in the hot in the heat of the moment. Like gotta chase it, and especially if it's your own business, you got to take those breaks, or you're gonna hit turn out like poor old Kirk here having a heart attack. So you want to make sure you definitely do that in good form. We talked about that too. So let's say 20. Focus on the why. Remind yourself why you got into business. It's hard to do when you're really like, I got 14 tune-ups I got to do. I got somebody coming in for a test ride. I got to order this stuff. And like, oh crap, I should have ordered that yesterday. But you take a hot minute, at least once a week, if not once a day, and focus on the why. This person right here, great story. That hits me hard at home. Like it rocks me to the core when you hear stories like that, because I have personal experiences with heart attacks. I have personal experiences for people riding and trying to, be part of the community. I mean, he's not racing. He's your recreational riding. That's like your 95% of the cyclists out there. They're either commuting or that, so forth. So focus on the why. And why do you like doing it? And if it doesn't fit and it's just stressed and you just need to pull away, I've seen people do that. I mean, like, okay, we've done it for so many years, or just short, and like, this is not what I really want to do. That is okay. It's not a failure. You need to protect yourself. So, cycling industry is hard. Anybody that's been in it for more than a hot minute is going to tell you right off the bat, it's tough. And there's never really any light in the tunnel, ever. It's just more blockage. So it's just more obstacles, more challenges. But you got to have a different purpose of just making millions in the cycling industry, because you're not. Yeah, that's the unicorn, and only a few have done it, and everybody's hating them right now anyway. But just a joking. Don't take it too serious. But it's like one of those things you got to focus on the why. Even in the corporate level, it's like, why are you here? Why are you doing this? How you can contribute to make it better? How you can make it better for yourself as well as others? So there's a lot of those things you got to look into, for sure. And communicate to customers. I mean, you got a workload. And this is really specific for service. It could be for new bikes or also bike fittings or whatever. But you got to communicate your workload. It's like, I'm busy. I mean, and you got to identify it, and you got to really push that out. And honestly, every time I think of something, it takes me twice as long to do it because of life. And I just learned, like, you just need to double your time. Like, double your estimations, double that. I mean, it's like, oh, I'll have it done in a couple days. Give you a couple days buffer, because something's going to come and happen. What you're going to do is overpromise and underdeliver, when you should be overpromising or underpromising. Yeah, underpromising then overdelivering, because they're going to be happy if his bike is done earlier than the estimate. And you're busy. They see you're busy. They walk in. There's people all over the place. There's bikes all over the racks. So you're like, get that. But if you open up your schedule, like I've been able to do that, and believe me, the dollars are still going to come. It's still pretty busy. I mean, you don't have to like frantically get everything. That one person that has that, their lack of scheduling, their lack of foresight is going to give you stress. You got to kill that scenario. You can win in a couple of those, like you push out some of those. And I always ask people, what is their mindset of getting this back? Even though it says in documentation, that should be done in 2-3 days or whatever, what is your true? I mean, some of it, like, oh, I'm out for a week and a half. Oh, okay. So I have time to do that. Or I need this immediately. Well, the thing is, if you have a good balance of communication, for a case in point, I pushed out about a week and a half out for scheduling. And that's on purpose. Like, could I push more in there? Yes, but I got a lot of other stuff to do that is not just customers coming and dropping off bikes for tune-ups. I mean, I have several different aspects of my job that I'm focusing on. So therefore, I pushed it out. Well, Kirk goes to me and he goes, well, how far are you out on tune-ups? I'm like, well, I'm about a year and a half, about a week and a half out. But for you, just tell me when. So if you open up your schedule, and this did not endure any stress to me. Actually, I enjoyed working on it. He dropped it off yesterday. It's like, yeah, this is what I need to do. I'm like, story's great. This is a repeat customer, repeat bike. I've worked on it several times. I'm going to have a huge why factor on doing this and a big heartwarming hug to myself of taking care of Kirk because, I gave myself an opportunity to have time to do it, right? So there lies communication. And if you keep your flow steady and keep the expectations not too crazy, case in point, 24-hour turnaround is nuts. It's dumb. Case in point, the store here that's corporate that has advertising 24-hour, they're a week out, period. Talking to the service guys, they're like, oh, we're a week out. I mean, it don't matter what it says on the banner. We scaled back on staff. We only have one real good mechanic because the season was so damn slow, and the corporates are just trying to cut back as much. They're not hiring anybody right now, unless it's some weird anomaly store. But other than that, or desperation to need a mechanic, but if they have a mechanic, they're just going to burn them out. So corporate people, you know who you are. If you're watching this, better be careful because what you've just done to yourself, it's just going to get worse. Because where we're looking at right now is a strange. It is uncharted waters. A lot of this, some of these mile markers we've seen in our market. Been doing this for 35 years. There's been some things, right? There have been some things there that are similar, like sales are slow, service is up, but there's bigger things going on that here in the States that's causing global effect too. But it's just disruptive and it makes it hard to forecast. And so especially the bigger companies are selling just new product and so forth. Makes it hard. So there eludes a lot of stress just coming down from every direction. Is if you walk in your job and you don't know, well, one, am I going to still have a job? And number two, how am I going to navigate through this to keep the business going? And then you have the small shops, or I'd say the front lines of mom and pop shops or smaller independent shops. And they're just smashed for service, and they're taking advantage of that as much as possible because the bikes they're not moving. They're not as moving as much as you need them to support the store. So you got to take it where you can get it, and then you got to go find new places to actually help out those particular services that their people are looking for. So that's the thing that you want to from them, and try to protect your staff, protect yourself, protect your store, and try to protect your image by doing so. A projecting of well, yeah, we're busy, but we'll get to you. I will take care of you with a smile. I try to keep my guys less stress, or gals stress, my crew less stress, because you get better service. And between fixing a flat to doing an overhaul, you're going to get better service. I've been in shops where it's horrible. Commission based, do as much as you can. There's, that kind of thing. They try to fluff it to make it a little bit nicer, but no. At the end of the season, you're hoping you get fired. I mean, that's how burnt out you are. You're like, oh, please let me go. Because this is just, horrible. And that's been in the cycling industry. But things have changed since then quite a bit. So therefore, we got to change with it. Therefore, this is one of those things that we need to really think about to keep moving forward, because you don't want to burn out your mechanics, because mechanics are the ones that are actually carrying the stores right now. And you're going to need them later on, for sure. And there's not that many of them. There's no more schools really that produce good quality mechanics out of the gate. The industry has really burned out that bridge to not provide good livable wages for a lot of mechanics. It's been turning a little bit for the last 5 to 10 years, I'd say, with the corporate stores. But other than that, though, it's still a huge shortage, globally, huge shortage on mechanics. In Europe, there's a couple articles on that where they're trying to freaking figure it out. But in any case, there alludes. You're in your hot and heavy season. Woo! All right, let's check a couple shout outs here. Randy, yeah. Levi, thank you. Armando Pablo, I'm going to burn that. I'm sorry, I'm not going to say that right. Randy, you have a good point there. You'll make a living in the bike industry, but you won't get rich. It's not worth pushing yourself. There you go. I got to tell you, it's not worth pushing yourself. To make, there's that saying like, well, if you want to make $1 million in the bike industry, you got to start off with 2. I mean, it's just, it's just nuts. So, but the thing is, there's still encouragement. I get the rush of being busy, but then there's that fine line of going too far, and then you're crushed. I get the rush of when you do promotions or service packages, or you set stuff up in the off season, and it works, and you're like, oh, this is awesome. Either it makes it more efficient, more streamlined, better customer service, better mechanics, better time, better why you're doing this. When you do something in place that does some massive improvement or even small improvement to that season, it's huge. So that alludes to the next topic, for sure. Capitalizing on burnout insights for the next season. Everybody goes through this. Busy. Oh, I need to do this. Might be a good idea. Oh, I should do this. And somebody forgets to write it down, or if they write it down and it gets thrown out, or you don't write it down good enough, you're not getting some good learnings. It's like one of those things where you find yourself in a scenario where you're trying to take that thought, that concept, and try to mold it. So take a minute and have a discussion with your other team members. Or for me, I bounce it off my wife and my other friends that help me do this. But take a minute and and kind of discuss. Let's look at those. Optimizing workflow and efficiency. Everybody's trying to get to A to B fast as possible and the best outcome. Take a hot minute and just pump the brakes and go, whoa. We want to do it right the first time, because fixing stuff afterwards and getting a bad rap from it is going to kill your business. So we want to make sure better practices. Well, that could be systemized, systematic. Okay. In any case, there's bike books or bike booking bikes. I'll put a link in below. They gave me a sample. It's a POS version for basically scheduling repairs and the whole systematic of it. Had a couple meetings with them. It looks super cool. If you're a smaller shop trying to get a POS system to help organize everything, it's built by bike industry people, service specifically for bike shops, for service, with all those nuances to deal with it. There's a whole bunch of different things in there. You probably have a system in place. Granted, this is something you're probably not going to want to look into in a hot, busy season. This is an off-season kind of thing, unless you have time to implement it. But quite honestly, something like that can really make communication from the customer better, the communication between staff, what needs to be done, all those things a lot better, and cut down on time. There's a lot of, you can upload pictures and does inventory management, it has a CRM, all those fancy buzzwords, and it's not expensive. Looking at Lightspeed and Ascend and various others out there, this is definitely a lot cheaper, and they will work with you if you need be for sizing. They're getting a lot of steam in Europe. They're only a couple, 2-3 years old, and now they're hitting the U.S. market. So good cats that I've had meetings with, and that's something that could help your service department, all those kinds of things, just to be a lot smoother and more effective and taking care of those things, and scheduling that, and you can open up time for anticipation walk-ins and so forth. Once you have the data, I'm data driven. If you have being a service manager, you look at last year, the year before, or 3 years back, and you take all that, and that's where Retail Toolkit was data driven. And you look at those numbers like, oh, how many flat fixes did we did this month? How many small repairs? How many tune-ups? You break that all down, and if you're able to manipulate that and put it in a schedule, and like, okay, well, we can do with the staff that we have about 10 tune-ups, but knock 2 off of that, make it 8. And then open some time up for small repairs. Give yourself a very organized, healthy projection. And then if you have extra time, chew off more. But it's better to that than overpromising and not getting anything done. Then you're pushing your staff so late at night and causing burnout. So that's one of those things you really want to do. Take a good hard look at. Have those conversations in season, and what I mentioned is like have a 5, 10 minute, 30 minute power meeting with your staff. Before or after. Usually before, people are more fresh and thought about it. And like, let's talk about this for a second. I had an idea about this. Now, how about you? Let's take a look at that. And write it down in detail. Videotape it if you need to, whatever, or record it. And therefore, you can implement those in the off season. So, or at least have a snowball chance in hell to remember how to do it. Because in the moment, it's easier, but after 6 months, you're like, oh, what was that again? I wrote this down, but it doesn't make sense to me now. So I've done that to myself all the time, and case in point, I try to get better. All right. Standardizing common services. Everybody goes through their service packages in the off season, and what you're going to add to it, what you're going to charge, you're going to up the prices, lower the prices, your marketing strategy of that. But when I was reading over this and I was like thinking about it, it's like service has gotten so complicated in the sense that we now have e-bikes, right? And then we have your road bikes and your mountain bikes, which have gotten very complicated. Then you have your recreational bikes, and there's a good 5 or 6 different perspectives. And a lot of the shops, and including the ones I've worked at and also implemented, is like checklists on things to be reviewed while working on it, where this program can help you with that. It has those. But also, if you don't, you can do a paper version of it, checklist or what have you. And those need to be catered to the actual type of bike. Instead of just having one that does all the bikes, now you need to have 5 or 6 of them for each category of bike that's coming in. Therefore, you're going to have a better outcome, better communication with the mechanics, especially if they're new. They know what's going to be done on that specific bike versus a different kind of bike. So even though they may know how to do all of it, they just need to know what's expected and what's been communicated to the customer, and what the customer, if they're a seasoned customer, comes back, is expecting. So there's no lack of communication in that portion of it. So standardizing that quite a bit and sticking to your guns through the season. Mid-shift season stuff, if you're doing a test here and there, that's fine if it's small. But if you're nothing big, you just don't have time to do it. So that alludes to, take all that information, those meetings, and maybe do it once a week, maybe, because we can't do, 90 bullet points and go through it in the winter. You could, but let's do it once a week, maybe 5, top 5 things that week you've experienced. Some of it will carry over to the multiple weeks, so it'll repeat itself. But if you're in the off season, then you can actually kind of shake it down to what really is important, and then you can make a plan of action of implementing some of those off season, pre-season prep. And it seems in our market, our pre-season prep is shortening, and which is good because that means you're busy. But that could be even done, if you're in a seasonal business, every 6 months, you got to have a seasonal prep adjustment. Even if you don't have seasons, you need to do that to do shifts to change. Obviously, it's going to be more micro scale, big changes, but it's one of those things that it always has to be done. And bigger shops in those particular markets know how to do that, and that's how they've been very successful. But yeah, you got to take the commitment of that, not just take a week off in the winter and go, oh, we're going to go to Tahiti and take the crew and not do anything. You actually do have to do the work. But as much as I want to not do the work, but it'll help you. And that's where I found it very entertaining, because it's fun for me to come up with formulated a plan. And then when it's implemented, maybe you need to do some, have some flexibility so you can do changes on the fly in season. But if you can get it to work about 80% of what your initially intent was, you're doing great. So those are a lot of things that will help your business, as well as your staff, as well as your customer community. It goes down to your community for sure. The other bullet point on this one was quick express lane service. Got to build that in your schedule. Expect that. There's going to be somebody that drops off that you're going to want to take care of. I mean, hands down. And you don't want to stress yourself out by working at 10 o'clock at night trying to take care of that one person. But if it's built into your schedule, you can file it in, and it's less stress on you. They get a better outcome, and therefore they get the better experience. And he knows, he's not going to be the one that takes advantage of that all the time. Some shops, will have an upcharge for that. You can for that kind of thing, but it's one of those things you don't want to come off that way. I think it's more negatively than what you'll make as a positive. You're not going to make as much money on that as you think, number one. Number two, it's going to be more of a turnoff. So you want that customer to come back in the off season or do bigger services. So if you're able to press in that headset for them on that used bike that they bought online, and they bought the headset from, Chris King Direct or whatever, still take care of them, because that person might come back later for the overhaul or the ceramic coating or the wax chain or that kind of thing. If you're upticking them for that rust fee of $10-15, I think it's a horrible idea, because you're just giving, you get the money now, but you don't get the customer, if that makes sense. You get the money now and you don't get the customer. And that's the thing, is you want the customer. You want the customer to come back. I got a huge list, constantly growing, great customer base. And since this is a appointment-based business, I've been cultivating these individuals. And I might only see them every other year, but I see them every other year. It's like they come back, and it's consistent, and I can build off of that and not go crazy, so that's what you're looking for. And then again, you're not the end all be all. Are you? I mean, if you're the only shop in a small town, maybe the bike farmer is. But then again, he only has 4,000 or 5,000 people living in his neck of the woods. So there's nothing more than that. And then there's Greeley, and unfortunately Blue Sky. I believe they're on the process of closing their doors. They just can't do it. You just personal reasons as well as market and so forth. And it's just, we're losing a lot of shops. And hopefully some of these bullet points will resonate with you, or with you and your crew, or within, customers understanding. And hey, if you love your shop and you have a good relationship with them, they're always going to listen to some ideas. And you can just be a very light, polite, positive, suggestions like, hey, you never thought about, doing this, or I've heard about this program for organizing tickets and so forth, and you ever heard of that? And it's you're helping them as much as they're helping the community. Everything helps, and we do listen. It's not like we're a hard line. If you're a hard line and you don't want to listen to anybody and all that, unfortunately, you're not going to last in the last few years. It's just not, and the next few years is not going to get any better for you. So you better lighten up a little or go find something else to do. That's more, I don't know, more fun, I guess, maybe, that kind of thing. Anyway, all right. Oh, that's a good old soapbox for 45 minutes. Whew, holy cow. All right. All right. Oh, polite chimahana. Hanahala? Okay, I messed that up. I'm sorry, but hey, good. Thanks for joining. Thanks for chiming in. Feel free to put some comments, questions, what have you, in the comments. If you're watching this the replay, go ahead and put it on the not the chat, the comments below, and we'll discuss there afterwards too. In the 90s, the sales reps for all the major brands used to stroll into the bike shops like rock stars. Yeah, I remember a few of those rock stars, as those brands were making big bucks and the good old days. Well, you have a point there. As a sidebar to stress, but then that is actually stress. And looking at my parents' Parker bikes back in the late 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, really early 2000s, looking back of all those reps coming in, some of them weekly, and taking up our time in season. Granted, the dynamics have changed. There's the internet now. They all have B2B websites, all those things. But we'd even on the phone, we'd have like, I think it was Ted from Seattle Bike Supply would call us like every Tuesday. Anything, like, dude, I mean, stop. And sometimes we would, but they were hounding. Did they help? To some level it did, because we didn't have the communications that we do have now in industry. So they're the ones that we got ideas from and so forth. We leveraged them as much as they were trying, well, not as much, but we try to leverage them as much as they were leveraging us to get orders out of. But there was a few that, like, you develop relationships over years with these individuals, and they would put you in not in the best scenario for your business because of their own personal situation with their own company. In other words, you haven't hit your quota, so go shake the tree and get your numbers up or you're going to be fired. Heard that quite a bit from one of our particular reps. I didn't know if he was just showboating and trying to get more, and his job was not at risk, but years later, ran into some people that were in the same circles. Sure shit, yeah. He was about ready to get canned several times. And he talked my dad into buying way too much product for it didn't help our business. It hurt us. So these days the reps they're trying to help. Some are good people. I'm saying they're not all horrible, but hopefully it's a better balance now. But case in point, back then, I wish I had a lot of more time back in my life than dealing with them, than focusing or actually riding my bike. I mean, let's put it that way. Didn't do nearly enough riding in the 90s that I should have been. So trying to make up for it now. But great point. And that is with all businesses. I mean, for me, I do have some partners I'm working with, but it's more in a win-win column for me. I'm willing to put time into it and want to cultivate those relationships because the world's a little bit different for me now. It's like I'm looking for affiliate and that kind of thing, partnerships and so forth, and brand deals when you're looking at social media and also the shop presence and so forth. But if it doesn't work, I can't tell you how many emails a day I just delete because they do not even come close to fit in my business. And it's easier to delete it than having somebody walk in the door. Granted, I have a garage door. I keep that damn closed for any of those particular walkthroughs. Local kids that need bikes worked on, great, we'll do it. But anyway, so that's my little side note on that. But thank you for chiming in and bringing that to additional stress, attention, and hopefully we can skirt around a lot of those now. Oh, Randy, you have some pushy customers that demand same day or faster services. I charge them a different price. Well, if that works for you and they're still coming back for that, knowing that they're going to be charged a little bit more, sure. if it's a charge that's not on the billboard, that kind of thing, you kind of can do that anyway. Like, well, I typically just do, $15 for a trailer cable adjust, switch out or something like that. And like, I'm going to bump that to $20 for this individual. If you don't have it posted, you can make those, adjustments on the fly a little bit easier, but you still got to maintain consistency to some level of that. Because, it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, if it works for your business model, that's fine. But I've just seen it in other places where, especially if it's heavy competition and people are all fighting for the same service, that could be something you might want to review for sure. All right, going into the other part here. Another thing that introducing fun and community-focused initiatives. Think about that. I did a few fun things lately, and one was the last couple weekends, I hung out at a pub, basically helping try to raise money for MS. It was a charity event, and I'm like one of the people they wanted me to be there to talk to people possibly. And it was the first time, so it wasn't huge, but it was fun. I got to meet local individuals and businesses and maybe work out something better, like having a morning pub ride, and you end up at the pub and you have yourself some bacon and some libations or something after a good ride or whatever. So, it is fun to be out of the garage and at the event and working with other people that are inspired and that want to do, more to the community, and talking other businesses into, it's not just selling whiskey and bacon. It's, you get people, oh, maybe we can do a couple bike events or get a team or club. Let's focus on club. Get like a little club and get some jerseys made up and, get those people out there. They're out there. I mean, the one location's in Fort Collins. Fort Collins is a huge cycling community. And a lot of those clubs that already exist are always looking for a place to hang out after their ride. So that's, one of those particular things. You add fun to it. With your staff, you can do, I want to say retreats, but my dad always did like wings. I mean, he'd cook up wings at the house after a long weekend. We'd go hang out on a Sunday, closed, not closed early, but had earlier hours on Sunday and hang out for a couple hours and just had wings and shoot the shit and just had a good time. And every one of those people that have worked in my parents' shop knew of this, and it just built, let's take everybody out of the environment for a few minutes and not talk about shop and just talk about other stuff and, those kinds of things. And it all depends how it fits within your particular model, but fun is a huge aspect of it. A couple ideas from that. This is interesting. Is do themes in the service department, weekly or monthly. Dedicate like waxing wonders or derailleur, theme things. You can do some fun things. I mean, some corporates that do like weekly promotions, so forth, but do a promotion, but not a promotion, but like a fun theme kind of thing, like, Crazy Mechanic Day or something. There's all sorts of things. I mean, just watch any of the New Belgium fat tire rides. It's not a race. It's a solo roll with costumes. I mean, just watching that, I'm sure you'll find something. Or you can do like, we used to take old leftover, trade-ins that we weren't going to sell, 16-inch wheel bikes, and we used to race them in the back alley. Like we'd have like races, this week is the 16-inch wheel race. Just don't do the Huffy Toss or at least promote that, because you get a negativity. But you can take, anger management to wheels and so forth. But putting themes, you can do like some fun things in the shop and so forth. That gives it more of a community feel within the shop. And you can also share those experiences with the actual customer base too, as well. And then another thing you can do, this goes right into the social media realm, which a lot of shops don't leverage a lot of, but you can with a pretty low lift. Like you can do Ask a Mechanic office hours, like an hour. You can do like a podcast Q&A. either on YouTube or any other your social media platforms. Have a couple of your lead mechanics just hang out, and we'll talk to get people to see them like you see me. And this is huge, people, because half my business has been driven locally by this channel. They see me working on something, they want me to work on it, therefore they're meeting the mechanic, they know the mechanic. I've had people traveling through and they're like, hey, just wanted to say hi, and I'm more than happy to say hi. Like, hey, I'm not locked up in some basement just cranking on bikes. It's, I'm a person, and apparently I'm okay with talking with people and very personal, and I came out of my shell being shy when I was in my 20s, but it's one of those scenarios where if your staff becomes a staple, you're showing them off and you're supporting them for that kind of thing, you can get them to do these particular little event things. I mean, of course you're paying them on that, but it's actually given the local community a great insights to your store. How much does this guy have experience? What is this experience he's done? What kind of things, like knowledge, or what kind of fun things he likes to do with bikes? What got him into bikes? All those kinds of things. So, ask the mechanic office hour. That could be just a show on your own. Believe me, you're not going to compete against anybody else. There's such a huge, wide open range here for bike content. People are hungry for it. Whatever you want to bring to the table. If you want to just talk about cruiser bikes, and that's all you do is cruiser bikes, talk about it. There's a huge niche for that. Then it's not just local, it's global. So it's like one of those things you could, I don't know. It really can open up a bigger portal for your shop, and it may take you to somewhere we not even know for sure. So yeah, that's something I would definitely talk about. And then get into other ideas like customer DIY shop. Like you can be a little more focused on. You can do little videos, like a live video, like let's take apart of a derailleur, a pretty common one, and just like this is how you clean off the jockey pulleys. Do it yourself. I mean, it doesn't take many tools to do that, but you need to have the mindset or understanding of best practices of taking something like that apart. Because I don't have one on the counter, but it's like one of those things where something this complicated, engineered, high quality, overthought of piece of equipment is actually not that hard to work on and to maintain. Few tricks, pull the jockey pulleys, but they're specific to what size, upper or lower, and what direction sometimes, and those kinds of things. And just something simple like that to help them clean their derailleur. They're still going to do some stuff on their bikes, but they're going to come to you for the big lift. And then you're helping out the community. If you sell anything online, I swear, like it's either just coffee cups or t-shirts off your website for your business, you're doing a portal and customer is like living somewhere other part of the state, country, or whatever, and you can ship to them, they might just buy a coffee cup just out of support. So you just don't know where that comes from. I have a lot of customers that watch me here, and they'll buy stuff from my website because they know they're supporting me as well as the channel and everything else, and that kind of thing. Obviously they're buying something that they need for what they're doing, but they're going to look at my portals first to buy something. So that's huge. So DIY shop. I mean, it's I can't say you can take it as far as you want to take it. It could be something simple, basics. You may think it's like the repetitiveness, but this is what I found out is they want to know you. They don't want, they'll see all the park tool guy doing his things, but he's doing a great job, does great work, awesome. But they want to see you do it. They want to see you fix that brake. They want you to tell them on their chain, show them your experience, highlight your shop. You follow me here? Because that's where you're really. It's really just they want to know who you are. The park tool guy, he's great, but I'm not gonna be able to take my bike to him. And granted, depending on your market, they may not be able to bike to you either. But everybody has. Believe me, cycling industry. There's plenty of personalities. I mean, you got me, you got Bike Farmer. We're just the tip of the iceberg, people. I mean, a lot of us are wackadoodles out there, and you can be a wackadoodle like us too, and have your warm community that gives you warm hugs. Yeah, there's some negativity, but you kick them off, and you just go forward. Let that roll off your shoulder. But there's a lot less than I anticipated, quite honestly, unless you're really kind of extreme, whatever you're doing and want to fold in other stuff. But if you just stick to the basics with the bike culture, I think you'll be just fine. I mean, really. Oh yeah. Okay. So this goes into my favorite part. This is what I've been really getting into, because I've been doing this song dance, working on bikes, working in bike shops, doing that for the last 35 years. And what is a 35-year seasoned individual gets them all excited about? New stuff, doing new things to bikes that maybe people already thought about doing. I mean, I got really interested about the wax, and that's kind of cool, but that's become a bigger normal thing now for waxing chains. For me now, this is part of the brand deals and leveraging and that kind of thing. And I've talked about lithium lithium care products, or lithium auto care. That's what it is. They have ceramic coatings, they have cleaners and so forth that go on your car. They've been doing it for years. It's very scientific, really cool. I've had a couple meetings with them, and yeah, this sounds like a pitch, but quite honestly, you can use whatever products within this in the other market, which is not bike market, is actually car product market, and use those things on your bike. A lot of the same properties on both are the same. Paint, mixed materials, brakes, rims, all that stuff. Tires, cars have tires, right? Same kind of all those products. I mean, you can go down the weeds on some of these brands. Adams has laundry lists of different brands out there, products that they provide. Lithium's a little more scaled back, so it's a little bit easier to they don't have a billion products. It's like they do the good stuff right, and they don't do everything. That alludes to some of the companies within the cycling industry that want to do a little bit of everything. Silco's one, Muck-Off's another one. They have laundry lists of different products. Are they worth a shit or not? I don't know. I would think they're probably not as good as the auto industry car paint stuff, maybe. So there's a shot out of my comfort zone. And what you can do is, and this is what I'm kind of working and acid test in my own shop as a service, is detailing frames, polishes, ceramic coatings, all that stuff. It's starting to get steam. Reason being, you clean a bike up like this, clean it already. Doesn't take long. Put some ceramic coating on there and dress it right, as well in some of the parts. The next major crappy ride, they get stuck with dirt, mud, or what have you. They go rinse their bike off. All that stuff just falls right off. That's a jaw dropper. So that's something that really hasn't been, they dabbled in it a little bit in the cycle industry, but these people have been doing it hardcore on cars, motorcycles for the last decades or so. So the products have really been homed in, and they work really well on these. I've been doing it for a year and a half, and they really work really well on bikes. So that's something that could be added as a new rollout service, high-end new bike service, protect your investment bike stuff. So that's a lot of good stuff that could be done to that for sure. So that's just one case in point, and that's something new, and I'm taking it to the next level. But I see a reason for it. It's a win-win. It may not be for your shop, it may not be for your client base, but it might be a little bit better than just spraying Pledge on your bike. Just got to say, Pledge might be fine, but this stuff I'm pretty sure is a lot better. That stuff there. Any case. And another, this other point. Well, this is leverage your YouTube channel. Well, leverage your social media. I don't know how many bike shops I've clicked on some of their tabs, and there's nothing. The one that really cracks me up is bicycle retailer. You click on like the YouTube, there is no channel portal. It's like why even have an icon in your website if it doesn't go anywhere? If you're a business, those icons better go somewhere, and they better have current content, at least within the week. If you can't support that, don't have time, staff, or whatever, don't want to do it, don't have it on there. It's dumb. Because they're looking at your website and they want to click on a social media platform to legitimize your existence, so you're not a scammer. So that is a huge thing you have to have. So all those people I've been talking to recently that have websites, and we've been working on certain things, and I've noticed on your, I haven't told you directly, but I'm telling you now, if your icons don't go anywhere with current content, take it off until you do. Because it's not doing you any good, it's actually doing you harm than actually good, saying you have a Facebook page and you have nothing on there. Granted, I have a couple that are like not super active, but at least I have something there in the last month, you know. So in any case, so you can leverage that. So the YouTube platform it's challenged for a lot of bike shops. I get it. It's tough. It's work. It is work. Case in point, I didn't have time to do any work on that this week due to the fact that I've been too busy doing repairs. That's one of the things, but I still have a strong enough community. I communicated to my community like, hey, sorry, no video this week. I'll have one next week. I have some great content, which I do. Have had stuff recorded. I just don't have time editing it and all that. If you're strong followers, they're going to be like, that's fine. That's cool. We get it. You're busy. That kind of thing. And that's, you make some money off of it, but quite honestly, you're making more money off of the service, and that's where you need to go now to support your business, to keep going, to be able to be there for them for the next time. So yes, that alludes to some burnout too. And there's burnout in social media. People get burned out on social media all the time, especially doing YouTube. They're like, oh, I'm just so tired of it. They get so many negative comments and all those kinds of things, or the videos didn't perform well and they put so much things into it. Scale back, make it light and polite. Make a couple easier videos, funner videos, just fun videos, like 3-minute video or something, just something hardly edited. My Shop Talk Tuesday lives are one of my platforms, which is nice because I don't have to edit it and do too much work afterwards. Yeah, I'm putting a couple hours into it while doing it, but after that, I'm done, and it's there for forever. And then if I do timestamps on each particular topic, those particular timestamps actually turn out to be little articles themselves. So I don't know if you ever Googled something and you're all of a sudden, that particular adjusting a front derailleur, you see a video part, but it's part of a longer video, but that's the segment of it. That's what's working for you. So, put in X, whatever, like derailleur adjustment, event, shop personality, crazy 16-inch wheel race bikes in the back of the alley, whatever, it's like those kinds of things that you want to do. And some of the biggest, the largest videos I've done have done minimal effort of making. It does show, but people like watching them. It's fine. So, and that could go towards a lot of other different type of platforms. If it works better for you on Instagram, which there's a few people that I follow on Instagram, I'm very amazed how big a following they have. They shoot like a 3-minute video daily almost. And I forget his name, but it's that guy, he talks really tiny, high up pitch, and not making fun of him, and just how he sounds. But he always has cool stuff he's working on. It's kind of like, take a glimpse of this crap, this weird old thing I'm working on today, which is awesome. And he has a following for that. So you can incorporate that within your own shop too. Or club. Cycling club, there's a whole bunch of riders and so forth. The clubs actually, you can build up your club by just showing all those different videos and events that we do. It's like, oh, that looks like a fun club to go hang out with. It's like a no drop, go out and have bacon and whiskey afterwards. I mean, whatever. How can you not be like that? So, a lot of those things could be incorporated into those social media leveraging and keep you from burnout. And burnout within itself, but it could actually break up the monotonous of working on bikes all the time, or featuring a couple little weird, tricky things, or recalls, or anything that's brand related that needs to be out there. I mean, you're part of the informational portal for a lot of us, learning stuff. So that really helps out for sure. Absolutely. I could see definitely a growing on that. Shop Life series, Shop Life Hacks series, tips and tricks. Little things like cleaning the grips off. I mean, not everybody knows how to do cable housing routing. That's always a good one there. Torquing bolts, all the safety stuff, adjusting brake. I mean, come on, I have content all day long. I just don't have time to produce it. And if you can produce some of it and put it out there, by all means, there's plenty. For me, I was thinking I have about 5, but I want to do like a top 10 list of things that I wish I knew how to do like 10 years ago. There's a few things I've just, came up with on my own. And, some people are like, oh, I've been doing that. And some people are like, that's pretty brilliant. And, little things. Mechanics, we're always coming across little tricks and so forth, like counting how many wraps on upper and lower to match on the other side. That's, one of many, pre-compressing the housing with using an older derailleur cable, pressing those fittings in, because we know the cable doesn't stretch, it's actually the housing compresses, so that's why your shifting gets all weird. So if you have tight fittings, ferrules going on your housing, you can do a pre-compression by using a cable puller to tighten those down. I'll show that in a video too. And then this the 10 tips, or I have video, slides of each one of expressing what is the benefit. So if you're watching this, if you're a mechanic or not a mechanic, whatever, experience working on bikes, and you're like, I found this to be super cool and super easy, put it in the comments below or in the chat, and you may be included in I'll reference like, hey, Joe channel, this came from him. How to figure out how to use the big old whack-em stick, paddle, and the paddles. Thanks, Joe, for joining us. Thank you. Charity stuff. Yeah, I've seen your segment on charity stuff that you've been doing too. Like this is the kids cancer one or something like that. That's awesome. That's great. Doesn't matter what country you're in, what state, what county, what city. There's something you can do to help out, and a lot of it can be translated to cycling, bikes, and the kids is a huge one for cancer. That's right. You'd be amazed how much you can raise sometimes. Just saying, hey, I need help to support this charity. This is what they're doing. Shops have always been doing stuff like that, and it's always as a community builder for sure. You did Wednesday night. A lot of shops used to do like they may still do like a clinic kind of thing. And then within the clinic, we used to do like a 10% off of tools and stuff like that kind of deal. That's pretty cool. Actually, let me read this out. On Wednesday night clinics at the shop, mechanics only. Oh, okay, mechanics only. No sales. Their entrance fee was to bring a food dish. Ends up bringing a great potluck dinner, mechanics tips, stories, etc. It was fun. That sounds fun. How about you go to your competition and just have the mechanics all hang out from the stores? That's fun. I worked on a shop here in Fort Collins, Lee's, and we had also a competition called Peloton, and the owners were very, very competitive, but the staff members would eventually move back and forth. So we all knew each other. We either worked with each other at one point or another, and we would meet like at Old Chicago's and stuff like that, and just same kind of point, like, so I was hanging out with Nick again, like, hey, how you doing? I haven't seen you in a while, and you just catch up, because those mechanics and staff, we're a different breed than the owners sometimes, which was really fun, because being a bike shop and owner, and then just being a mechanic, like a staff member, it's kind of fun to have that community within itself. This was pretty fun. So if you can incorporate some other, you may learn some new stuff, and then you have that shop-to-shop community, which what we all should be really having, especially in these times. Like, oh, I may not have this, but let me call my guy, call Bill down the street, see if he has that spoke, derailleur, whatever, and get you fixed up. Either you either get the part and you do the service at your shop, or you just send them down there to do it, knowing that you're not going to lose that customer anyway, because they're going to come back to you because they took care of you with that extra step. So, you know, it's back in the 90s, it was very aggressive sometimes, even early 2000s, very competitive. I don't think we are in that market today, because we're all just basically trying to survive. And the more of us that do survive this, the better. So help your local shop down the street out if you have any, you know, if not negatively impacted by them. Let's maybe put it that way, that kind of thing. So social media shouts, you can do, you know, combinations of those kinds of things too. What I do on mine on the last topic of using YouTube is featuring customer bikes. My disclaimer is like, your bike may be in a video. So, you know, come across something cool that you want to feature, or something weird that needs to be brought out, like, hey, this is how you fix this thing, or got like stringed up fishing line in a free hub body, or caked up foliage and the disc brake pads, you know, how to clean that stuff out. Or I do have a bike I just picked up. It's like, yeah, the bottom is, when I was riding it, you know, I bought this, I'm going to be, you know, reselling it. It's like, it's making a clicking noise. Well, the bonnet bracket on the drive side started threading out. So it pushed the whole drivetrain out a bit, so it wasn't shifting, and then it's now loose. So you had like a knocking, not shifting, all those things. And that, I'm like, I see the threads coming out. I'm like, that's your problem right there. It's like, oh, it's like, and I would feature that. on a video. I'm working on it, going, oh, grab the camera, take a picture, like, hey, you have a weird knock? Check this out. And it's not shifting right? This is what's going on. And then you can talk about bonnet brackets, put it back in, tight, you know, torques and all that, and double check and clean out, and how to properly reassemble it using, you know, whatever you need to do for not Loctite, but like tape and so forth, prevent it from coming out if you have issues of that nature. But if they're torqued down, they usually don't come out that much. So in any case, so yeah, featuring customer bikes, I do it all the time. Actually, my customers like seeing their bikes in videos. It's really cool to them to see that their bike actually worked on. Case in point, you make a video of it, and like, hey, and it could be a short one. It doesn't have to be a whole 15, 20 hour long like the bike farmer does on his. It could be just a 3-minute thing going, hey, check this out. Sometimes I just do it in shorts, like before and after, you know, but maybe some little tech tip things. It's like, it's like, they, you know, to see their bike owners like actually being worked on, and to see the attention to detail that you're putting into it. That's huge. I mean, that's you can't put a dollar on that almost. I mean, it's like a promotional piece to your shop that I came across it, and that's what I'm doing, and I've seen so much rewards from it. So yeah, all the time I put it into YouTube. Half my business is driven by YouTube. Either they come across a video. I don't know how many parts that people have bought off my eBay, and you're like, oh yeah, I watch it on YouTube. And I'm like, why don't you just go to my website? That would save you tax, and it's cheaper because it's not expensive. It's expensive because it's a 3% off my website that costs me for a transaction versus the so-called 15% or whatever on eBay, you know, whatever. But in any case, they're still interacting, and if they're feel comfortable with eBay, that's fine. I mean, some people just have those comforts. I mean, trying to get people to buy from JensonUSA instead of, and also Silco or lithium products, when they can buy all those things on Amazon, that's really hard to get people to go away from Amazon because they're just so comfortable with the Amazon process. So anyway, that's, I know it's a sidebar on that, but going to the whole YouTube influence part of it, leveraging it, it is very impactful. Not to do in the moment, maybe make a couple videos. If it's really quick, shorts, start your channel off on that. GC Performance, all he did in Florida was like do a freewheel spin on a bike, on like a high-end hub, one of these with the sound. And it had like a couple million hits or something like that. That's how I launched this channel. You know, you can do it too, something simple. And yeah, I encourage you to do it. I mean, if you're listening to me and you got this far listening to this, that's a nice little break from your normal day-to-day. And then when you get reactions to it, like, oh, I didn't know that, or that's cool, thank you for highlighting that. That just makes you feel better. Gives you those, you know, those encouraging words that you're looking for your performance of working that you may not always get to hear from your customer. But if you get it from the video, let's put it this way, it's like, what if Kurt never said anything nice about me at all? Which he doesn't. He says nice things about me all the time. But what if he was one of those? But I did so good work on his bike and videoed it, and everybody's like, that's awesome. What a great job. Okay, you get your validation there. It may not be from the customer itself, but at least you get some kind of validation. Not that I need to be validated, don't get me wrong, but it is nice, I do have to say. In any case. Precision e-bike, shout out to Josh at Precision e-bike. Yes, I'm gonna give you a small plug. If you have any e-bike issues, questions, scenario, reach out to him. He does not have a YouTube channel, but he does have a website and a phone and an email. Probably his email is probably best to contact him for questions. But if you're in the local area, the Colorado Front Range or North NOCO as we call it, Northern Colorado, and the Greeley, Tri-City, Windsor, Fort Collins, Loveland, and if you have e-bike or looking to get an e-bike, he's the person to go to. That's the person where I go to when I have my e-bike questions or any bikes that come into my shop that has e-bikes, because I don't test the batteries, I don't test the motors or any of that. It is basically a partnership that we have from both of our businesses, and I do have a feature video in my library of him so you can get more details about his business and how he works. Awesome cat, and that's what you need to work with if you're a business, try to leverage other shops in your market with different niches. You can work with each other. I've had business driven from him and other shops, not because they know me, but they knew of me and they see me and through YouTube or other platforms, and they feel comfortable sending the customers my direction. There you go. Thanks for chiming in, Josh. What you got to say? Oh, I didn't even read your comment yet. I am so thankful for about 8 local shops that send us e-bike diagnosis work. That's my opportunity. It's true. I mean, I saw him rolling in. I think he was dropping out donuts. Where's my donuts? No, I don't need donuts. Just kidding. But he's been doing e-bike stuff. Case in point, you can plug in whatever you do, whatever your business do, or whatever your shop does, and you feel like they can leverage that. He's been in the e-bike realm for over 20 years. He's worked on motors and batteries and all that stuff. A lot of us mechanics are like, huh? Like, and we're like learning how to do all this on the fly. He's been living it. So the thing is, he is able to take care of a lot of that customer need deficit in our market, either problem solving batteries, motors. He's certified as well, and he's been doing it, and he's all set up for it. It's hard to I already got enough tools as it is. I'm not going to tool up for testing batteries and all that too. I don't have enough bends for that. So that's not my niche. I'm perfectly happy in my own little pig pen of bike parts and mechanical bikes, and I'm doing well at it. He's doing well at that, and he's actually, a lot of shops will drive him business or customers, and I still do that as well, because I know they're going to be taken care of for what their needs are there, more than me trying to figure it out. And that basically adds to your stress of trying to do something that you don't know you're doing right, and all of a sudden you have problems. Case in point, I've had to leverage other shops. I've only sold a few e-bikes in my refurbishing, and I've learned real quick I don't do that. Reason being, number one, I'm not schooled for it. The one I did sell was a Specialized, and the motor was knocking, making noise. I had enough of a relationship with the local Specialized shop here, and I was able to go, hey, this is the customer's bike, this is the issues, can you help me diagnose this, and so forth. Turned out the motor was bad, and they would warranty it, even though it was a second-hand bike. So there alludes that sometimes you got to leverage in your other shops. And a lot of us have been around for a long time, we do. But this is opportunity, and especially now in our market, you can leverage them more, and they can leverage you as well. Making sure they know exactly, and that's what Josh did, is he went to other shops. So this is what I do. I'm really good at it. Here's some donuts. And I'm sure they're like, And every shop I walk into, I talk to them like, hey, what do you do with your e-bike stuff? It's like, well, if it's our brand, we take care of it itself. But if anything else, we take it and we send it over to Josh, have him take care of it. So there's so many different ones there. In any case, thanks for joining us, for sure. Whew, it is getting toasty in the garage. It is 86 degrees here. Unfortunately, I don't have a cooling system in my garage, so I have to do all my work early in the morning. Then I do all the other stuff in the afternoon. What other stuff you may say? Well, listing parts, working on my website, doing articles, editing videos, everything else that I don't do, which is another full-time job in itself. So it's broken up at, yes, you got it. After I have lunch, after I cool down, have a little nap, then I go do the afternoon busy stuff. And sometimes if I cool down, we have a very cool basement. So if I cool down cool enough, I can get back in the garage and work for about an hour. And then like, okay, I'm done. That kind of thing. So in any case, cold showers are usually a good summertime refresher for me. All righty. Okay. Getting to the last leg of this. Strategic staffing for even part-timers. So a lot of the smaller shops considering seasonal help. That's, sometimes we have to do that. Sometimes we don't want to do it. Back in the day, and I think this is where where a lot of things are going, is we're going back in time. We're going back in time to 90s, where a lot of mom and pops, smaller shops, like my parents, Barker Bikes, if Tim's watching, have a shot of coffee. Bagels and cream cheese. Oh, sorry, squirrel moment in the chat. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, I can handle some bagels and cream cheese. Yeah, food helps. Every mechanic's hungry, especially the younger ones. In any case, great point, Josh, at Precision e-bikes. What was I saying? Yeah, pipe timers. We're going back to the period where we can cultivate high school kids to get back into the shop, fix flats, that kind of thing, do some light repairs. Then they get, they graduate and then they go to college and they become a really good mechanic over time, working at a bike shop during college. That used to be a huge norm pipeline of how a lot of shops got their bike mechanics. Unfortunately, the small shops were eroded to the point where they were non-existent, more corporate. But I think a lot of shops, especially now, since the industry is shifted to really heavy on service, because that's the only thing that people are paying for right now. They're not going to buy a new bike. They're too worried about their economical state of the state. Things have gotten too expensive, whatever the reason may be. But it's this huge dynamic shift, regardless if doesn't matter what side of what aisle you're on. It's just, that's how it has changed. And this is how we need or have been adjusting for it. Regardless of how you feel about everything, the people that are coming in the door are most likely needing service versus buying a brand new bike. Therefore, you need more help on that. So case in point, the corporate store, they had like 5 employees, but there was only 1 full-time mechanic, or maybe 2 as a service writer manager. I don't know. But they scaled back, but they still had 3 or 4 part-time individuals doing bike builds, small repairs, all of that. You do still have to have one stellar individual that knows what the hell they're doing as the head mechanic to make everything work correctly. Either that's you or somebody in your staff. Bringing in that help part-time. And sometimes those kids just want to get their hands dirty on bikes, and it'd be cool. Got to have the patience for them, though. That's the thing. If you're not the type of person that is going to have patience, like having kids, and they're constantly gnawing at your threads of sanity, you got to put it in a positive light. Like bring them in early or set them up so they're set for success. Like the proverb or whatever it is, like don't fish for a person. If you teach them how to fish, that's the same kind of concept on working on bikes. Yes, they may come back with you with like some questions and so forth. Take the time to answer those questions in a positive light, and also positive and suggestive and directive. Because if you just like, oh no, you need to do it this way, nobody works well under that environment, period. But in any case, Cross-training is another huge leveraging piece. You have shops where the staff that are just salespeople, well, they need to learn how to fix flats, replace cables, do sealant tubes and tires, some of that stuff. Heck, if you added the ceramic coating service, teach them how to do it on new bikes. It is not hard. They can do it themselves. They can wash their hands afterwards, wear appropriate gloves, and you can do it on the sales floor too. And that could be an ad lib, like, hey, I took the wheels off. This is how you clean off the frame by rubbing alcohol. We're going to apply this ceramic coating. You can use the lithium or whatever brand. Make sure you know how to do it, but apply it on there. The lithium takes 4 hours to cure. You do the knockdown and let it cure before it gets wet, before you stack it. So you know the properties of it, but they're learning. They'll always learn. And then you can add that as a service onto the sales floor. And a wax chain is like, oh yeah, we can wax your chain for you. So there's an option there. And also this, if you really want to up your game, if you're not doing, static fits for included with the sale of a bike or even service bikes, that's another thing you can add to that leverage. Vice versa too. The small shops that I've worked in, everybody did everything from fixing flats to selling them to selling tubes to doing overhauls in the back. For the most part, all of us did all of it. And that's where it's going to go forward from there. So what if the market changes and service is no longer that much and now we're selling more bikes? Well, they can go out and sell a bike or do whatever else, that kind of thing. So cross-training is a huge bit for that, for sure. Oh, let's see here. Say 27 on that. Okay, so, we're in season. It's busy. It's hot outside, trying to get your rides in. Customers, they're mad because something broke on their bike, and they have to wait a week and a half to do it. If you put things in place like a pipeline, quick services, tune-up schedules, drop-off. Everything for me is appointment-based, so I'm not bogged down with too many bikes in my work area. A few, but they cycle through pretty quick. So I'm not storing a lot of bikes, that kind of thing. Back in the Lee's days when I worked there, we had a basement. There was always 50 to 100 bikes sitting to be either waiting to work on or waiting to be picked up. And then we had end of the month call these people to come pick up their bikes, that kind of thing. There's a lot of things you can streamline, but my biggest thing, if you take away out of all this, is in season, try to bring your stress down, try to be more efficient about things, and make detailed notes on what you would like to improve going forward or what opportunities to look into to improve your service department or your shop. Because it's, 6 months from now, you're not going to remember exactly what your headspace was then. Even recordings or videos or examples or something like that. Don't make a ton of them. Just like I mentioned before, once a week, top 3 things, top 5 things, and they may recur the following week, but that would really help you going into the next season. And there's plenty of opportunities out there to help improve your business, improve your community. And that's the bottom line here. It's really about building your cycling community. And the best shops that I've worked with that have been very successful, that was their core principle, is building their cycling community. Richardson Bike Mart, is it Bike Mart or just Richardson's? Well, Bike Mart down in Texas, Fort Worth, Dallas, Texas area. Great people. Their staff is awesome. It's just, beautiful stores, but they started small and they built up. That's one of their core principles. Not to say that either you want to be, I don't want to be big, but if you wanted to build up in that perspective, it can be done after, doing things right and a little bit of luck, of course. Another one was Will and Sprocket in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. They're up to 10 stores now or something like that. And even with these troubling times and so forth, they're still a great place to work. They're staffed, they're taken care of. It's a family-owned business. They're on their second generation. Their dad, built up this, I wouldn't say empire, but a great community structure within the markets they're in. and they're doing great. Yeah, there's some trouble sometimes for all of us, but at the end of the day, I bet Dollars and Donuts, they will survive longer than Trek and Specialized. And those other big guys, because, you know, they're shutting up water. They'll probably survive. I know they'll survive. I'm just saying that they're more frontline community-based style shops, and those, not that I'm looking to be that myself, but you can, if you decide if you're going to do something of that nature, or be just humble of the small shop that you may have. So there's a lot of different things of that perspective for sure. But yeah, I mean, that's case in point. There's a lot of stress to end season. I can't tell you how many weeks I've worked straight back in the 90s. I was obviously younger to be able to do such a thing, but I was talking with my buddies. I mean, during the MS, we were hanging out. And it's like, hey, remember the time we would go in at 7 and leave at like 8 or 9 at night? You know, I mean, putting in 12 to 14-hour days, cranking on bikes, with no days off in sight. And, back then I was not paid overtime. I was just what needed to be done for my family business, salary. So, I mean, I want to trade that time for anything, but I wish it was more of a, I wish we were more successful at the end of the day. It would have been nice. Especially for my dad, building something up and, something that we lost the shop before he passed away. So it was not something he could, carry the torch. But here I am. This is what I'm doing. I'm carrying the torch in a different way. And I know he would be very pleased to see what I've built out of my experiences. And that could be whatever case, take it how you want to take it. But there was burnout back then. You get short with customers, you get grumpy, you get short with staff, so forth. Bike shops usually are a place for a lot of people to go to find a community. They love cycling. They want to do those events. Foco Fondo is one of those events here locally that a lot of people are engaged with, and it's just a fun event. And I have not a part of that, but a lot of my customers are. And I do help them, get ready for those events, even though I'm not a part of it. I have my events that I work with. And so you don't all have to do all of them, as if you're just doing some. And, a lot of, some of my customers will, they'll do the bike MS, and then they'll do the triple bypass, and they'll do something else. And it's like, okay, at least I help them with one of those events, but then I help them through all those events, regardless of I'm a part of that organization or not, or club. So there's a lot of opportunity there, and a lot of way to basically go back to the why. Why are you doing this? And that, can be translated to anything you're doing in business. Sometimes the why is like, I just make a lot of money doing this. Not on this, but, different, whatever job you're doing besides cycling. But, at the end of the day, we're trying to build and be a part of something. And I would have to say, it was kind of isolated when I first started doing my business out of the garage, quite honestly, because only interactions I would have with people or with customers or buying bikes from me, which was still pretty busy, but those were just really short interactions, not the community interactions I remember having or being a part of in the bike shops, and also customers coming in and hanging out. So that was the missing component to that, doing what I was doing. And guess what? I found that by doing this. This YouTube channel is basically opening my community and also platform of meeting really cool new friends and reconnecting with old friends and making a community of it. And it's really built up to be something pretty darn awesome. That's why I continue to do it. I might be tired, I might have too much to do, but I feel, to me, like Shop Talk Tuesday is something I have to do. However the show or however podcast or however you want to perceive it grows or changes, I hope I can bring you along on the journey. And if you're just like, oh, I'd rather see you do more of this, cool. or X, whatever, as long as it's not weird. Please don't make it weird. But at the end of the day, it's something that gives me that shop experience as much as my shop experiences I'm sharing to you. And there's a few of you that work in shops that chime in, and I look forward to your comments. I look forward to you engaging. And it's awesome because I feel like I'm part of that community where it is kind of disconnect when you're just a one-person business as well. So allude to that. There was something interesting. That's my piece and topic. But there was one article that came up in Bicycle Retailer, and it intrigued me. And this really parallels-ish to a lot of my content kind of thing. I got to find the article here first. We're going to do this in a moment. And I think it's just one of those things that the brain was trying to find something and it found this guy and just posted it for him. But I don't know whether there's any kind of back promotion deal or whatever. I'll bring this up, have you guys take a look at it. Share screen. Okay, you got to bear with me. This is a bike mechanic trying to do YouTube. All right, so there you go. Okay, you see it. Bicycle retailer, brain as we call it in industry, bicycle retailer and industry news is what it is. I'll put a link in this afterwards too. Long-time industry veteran launches a discussion and communication platform. Okay, anybody in the chat watching this right now, did you guys see this and did you check out his site? So I'm not going to read the article, but basically Trey Richardson, made up this site. He's a, self-proclaimed industry rat. Well, we're all bike rats, bike shop rats. I think how John Bradley put it, shop rats, something like that. Well, it's, reading this, I found it very, and it's interesting. It's like, oh, okay, you're talking about topics. It's kind of like what some of you have alluded to, would like to have in our discussions, or maybe I want to say members only type thing or whatever, where we can talk about more industry stuff amongst each other, kind of thing. Not worry about the big brands pretty much finding out about who exactly is talking about what, more anonymous-ish. Because, if you don't know, if you're watching this, you're not inside the industry, if I said something bad about one of the brands that I carried, I can lose that brand. It's their image thing, and they can cut you at any time, especially if it's a big brand. Anyway, but it had a couple interesting parts of discussion, especially kind of homes into us that have been in the industry for a longer period of time, and also smaller shops, which were having these certain challenges where the MBDA is good if you're a bigger shop and you can afford to be a part of their club. And as a smaller perspective for me, I could be proven wrong, but it doesn't seem to me that particular platform gives me what I need for the costs. It has weight to it, like the P2 groups and so forth. I just don't have that in my, this is a pretty long, basically this is just a copy of his website, and I'm going to share his website. So it's a joining platform. And to be honest, I was like, okay, $35 for being a retailer, not too bad. Okay, where do I remove that? Not too bad. So like, is it 35 or $40 or whatever? Okay, I'll bite for a year. And because there's a lot of paywall stops, like, oh, read this article, you got to subscribe or whatever, that kind of thing. There's nothing. He just launched this, so it's really kind of a blank slate to start. Oh, where'd it go? Hold on. No. So I was hoping to find more content. So I'm not telling you to subscribe to them. I'm just telling you this is one of those scenarios or I came across, and it's interesting. It's called Industry Grease. And he had a few articles on the front page. I'm like, oh, okay. I should have been a little more, I don't know if these were even timestamped, so I didn't know if these were newer or older. But I subscribed and all that. And I did email him. He did a welcome email. And was like, oh, you're one of the first subscribers and so forth. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. That's nice, Trey. Awesome. Something you're going to be building up. That's cool. There might be a platform that maybe part of our community can join into, more content and so forth, or however he is laying it out, or ideas or suggestions and all that. But he has like, it's, the groundwork is here. This just hasn't been populated with content yet. But he's laid out basically the structure of it, the different like education and training portal, general discussion, service department operations, D2C, retail discussions, marketing, sales. That's like on the retail side. There's like a supplier portal portion too, and and those articles relating to that. Some of them are copied, and then the industrial hub or industry hub. Sorry. Problems and solutions and stuff like this. This, be a great, once it is populated, I think it'd be a great asset, that kind of thing, to be able to scroll all those weird things together and to, build a community off of that. So we'll see. I'll give you an update on it, but this is something I just dived into last week where I was like, late nights, reading up and going, interesting. And I did subscribe, and I was like, it's light now. Hopefully it'll open up, add a lot more content. The articles that he does have up are pretty intriguing, the few that he does. But looks like it was something they'll build out. Hopefully with the bicycle retailer, gotten more steam and more subscribers and that kind of thing. Like anything, this individual, is trying to make this as a part of an income or some sort. So it's got to make money to be, to put more effort into it. But it's at least a decent groundwork on that. So just wanted to share. That's something I looked at. It's interesting to me. But in any case, I wonder if I can share the other. That's an informational piece. And I know some of you are chiming in. Yes, what was the other one I was talking about? So that's interesting because I'm sure some of you chimed in. Was like, I'd like to have like a safe space for us. I totally get it, because sometimes you're worried. Like I want a place where I can just have mechanic, nobody knows my name, and I can chime in and talk about stuff and get some insights to help me do what I'm doing, and also make me feel better about what I'm doing, and be a part of that kind of thing. Where was the other one? I will have to. I have too many tabs, so sorry about that. But in any case, bike book or something like that. Maybe I need to just do a different. Nope. Okay. I'll have to copy and paste it from a different portal. In any case, yeah, it's called Bike Book. And see if I can pull it up for you. Oh, I won't be. I don't know if I have the sign in for this. Maybe I do. So you guys can have I don't have anything built up, so it's just a quick peek. But these are the guys I've been talking to about. No. That POS for bike shops. And it does look intriguing. What I have poked at it, it does seem to be pretty cool. Yeah, you guys see it. All right. So for service portion of this does have a CRM built into it, a automatic email platform as well. Has your analytics. It has the inventory management portion of this. The transactions are through Square, I believe, in the States. So you can do, it has analytics and all that. And the communication of the service tickets is very intriguing. It's similar to your CRM workflow board. So if you've dived into any of those work environments before, this is very normal, and it does work well. And you can do all your availabilities and so forth. There's like the invoicement, payments. Again, I haven't started this up or even played with it yet, in the sense of putting my information in customer base and all that. But going through the particular like demo that I did with the guy, Jake, who was the contact I talked to over there. They're in England and Europe. And it sounded very intriguing. It's really cool. The integrations they're starting to try to work with where is that? They did have some integrations they were going to try to work with for inventory, so you can purchase from like either QBP or somebody like that through the platform. Supplier integrations. Let's see what they got here. So of course they're going to have some European ones because they're based out of Europe, but JBI I think has got on board for them. That might be the only one in the United States, but they are working to try to get others on the platform. And I have a call with them in August, so I'm hoping to have some of this built out and played with a little bit by then, but most likely not, considering how busy I am. But if you guys, anybody out there, have been using this, please put in the chat or comment below. Let us know your thoughts and feelings, strengths and weaknesses. But it sounded pretty good because they have an information portal. So when you complete a bike, it automatically notifies the customer via text and also email. All the invoicing's all in there, payment take and all of that. So, not to bore you with all this, but it does sound like a helpful platform for work through to make it more efficient. And it's also built by kind of the bike industry side of this, and it's been homed in with the service departments in Europe and England, and to help work through some of their bugs already. So therefore, there's a pretty decent platform out of the gate. Integrations, it looks like, Square, obviously. Lightspeed is another one. I'm not sure what the R series or X series is, and also Shopify. So they have gotten some. They're going forward. I mean, they're a growing company. These guys are out of the gate dev savvy. They got this thing going. That's generating lucrative income for them, enough to keep the prices down, which is another huge thing. So then they're going to be working to add more layers to this. So if it works as it is and improves your business operation as it is, it's just going to get better because they're working to improve and make more of an imprint. Because if you work with Ascend or Lightspeed now and various other platforms for POSs, they are just kind of like half okay without being completely anger management about it, about how they run, because they don't do very well, or they didn't when I was dealing with them a few years back. So there alludes that this might be something that could help you out as a smaller shop to convert to something that's a little more effective. And again, this is not something you want to do in season unless you find it a dire straits, like I need to get rid of my POS because it's a POS and I need to find something that's a lot better. This is the price points are way like under $100 a month. So contact them direct and see if you can get, maybe you can get some better pricing. Tell them that you saw me and I know a guy. I'm not getting a kickback or anything, but I'm just like, for what I do is kind of fits-ish to what I do. If I do get into using it, it won't be until later because my other half of my business does not translate to their platform. So for me to put time and money into it is not for me for right now, but I can see it as if you're a mobile shop or just a garage shop doing service, that kind of thing, and you need to kind of keep all those receipts straight. That might be something to, or tickets and all that communication platform to make it a lot easier. They have some good stuff. So in any case, something to look at there. That's what my other findings are to share to the community here and that kind of thing. So in any case, I have blabbered for nearly 2 hours. Those who are, also, if you're doing a small shop and you've been reluctant of shipping, check this out. A whole bunch of bike stuff and you just need to get rid of it, no longer needs to be in your garage, needs to be in somebody else's garage and actually, maybe being used. Go to bikeflights.com. You can actually open an account yourself or just put in a one-time usage, put in the destination, so forth, the bike size, dimensions, and weight. Don't forget the weight. And add that insurance because you'll definitely want to make sure that insurance is covered if something happens in that UPS or FedEx or whatever transfer going to that next destination. You want to be protected. Then you just have to drop it off at your local UPS store and be able to get it on its way. And again, I have shipped bikes, parts, wheels, and frames for decades now. And Bike Flights is sure enough one of the best directions to go. So I know a couple shops out there. I've actually interviewed, like Swanee's, for example. They haven't dived into Swanee's in Las Vegas. Haven't dived into selling stuff online. Quite honestly, right now, the used market for parts and frames and wheels is huge right now. I've been leveraging eBay for a long time. For several decades now, I started off doing that and off and on. But in any case, it's now gotten to that where if you're doing service and you're trying to find some little extra income and you're seeing some of those bike prices on the used drop down to ridiculously low price, this is the time where you can be a chop shop, fix up those parts, clean them up, present them, provide good parts for those who are looking to upgrade or replace or what have you. And that's what basically has been taking off. I haven't been selling bikes hardly this year. The parts and the frames and the wheels have been what I've been actually selling. So using a Bike Flights have really brought the price down significantly for bike frames and bikes and wheels. All the other smaller stuff I usually go through USPS, but through the Bike Flights, having an account with them is like a lot cheaper. And this is before I even did anything. But I do have an affiliate link now in my description below, so check them out. They are definitely one of those platforms where they are, I think they're one of the few companies that are actually doing well because they're advertising everywhere. And regardless if your customer just needs that bike to be there for their event or you're shipping a sold bike, frame, wheels, something bigger, fork, shocks, to hit that price point. If you go to a UPS store, I mean, you know the prices are just ungodly expensive. I try to even get an account from UPS and try to get better rates. Nothing even close to this. So the only closest thing there was is actually if you do ship through eBay, it is pretty close to their pricing. But if you're selling stuff off your website or Facebook Marketplace or wherever else, and you need to find a shipping platform that brings the prices down because obviously you can't use eBay's. But therefore you can actually leverage them to go forward and sell those items. And quite honestly, that really has greased the wheels, literally, pun intended, to help get rid of a lot of this good stuff that's still in these bins that I just need more room for other things. Also been capitalizing on a bike that, you might find for $200. You're like, I can sell the shifters and make that or whatever. Yeah, it's a little bit of work, but quite honestly, it's cheaper than flipping a complete bike. It is a little bit more work on the other end. So listing one item, you're listing like 8 to 10 items. But you are providing parts for those who are needing parts. And in addition to, you're providing an income what is selling versus what's not selling. So that'll be my gold nugget of the week is used market for used parts specifically. Frames and forks and wheels is the one that's actually are going out the door for me right now. Some parts I can't hardly even keep in stock. And there alludes my conversation I'm going to have with John Bradley as a sneak peek. I'm going to be talking to him this week, and he mentioned when he was here right before doing the triple bypass about how the tariffs are going to affect the actually new prices and where used parts and accessories and frames and forks and wheels are going to be what everybody's going to go to. Because quite honestly, we've been buying bikes as a market. The U.S. market has been buying bikes in a gluttonous fashion for the last 3 decades. So needless to say, we have 3 decades worth of used products sitting in people's garages that can be turned into a gold mine for just providing refurbished, clean, functional parts. I mean, yeah, don't just, put it on the market dirty, whatever. Do like you do in the service department, clean it up, make it polished, but maybe put some polish on it, make it look clean, make sure it works. And you'll be selling those replacement derailleurs for $50 to $100, if not more, then you won't be able to get from QBP or JBI or any of them. Or if you do, it's going to be really expensive and be like junk componentry, really low end stuff. So I'm just saying, anything that's in the service department, you're seeing like a 9-speed or a 10-speed and you need something and they don't have it, like the used market, you can find yourself a front derailleur for $20. That's Ultegra. Or a rear derailleur that's Ultegra for $50. Or some replacement shifters, a 3x. That's Ultegra, or 105 for around $100. You can mark it up for the customer even if you need to buy it off of them and sell it, or you have your own little chop shop going on yourself. That's fine. People have been doing it already. You go on eBay, you'll see a few individuals have been doing it for a long time, and you look at the pricing structure that they have. Well, if they have over 1,000 references or 1,000 reviews on the eBay, or if they have like 2,000 or 5,000, they know it's a business. And if you look at the prices that they're listing, those particular part numbers and so forth, they're getting it. Keep that in mind. So in any case, food for thought, for extra income, if you're looking for, add a polish service, add some waxing, sell some used stuff. Clean out those bins if you need to. They might help you get through the slower months. It will definitely help you through the slower months. Also, if you're willing to ship, you don't have to just sell in your market. The majority of my stuff that I sell is not local. I still list local, still put it on Marketplace and Craigslist, but majority of the sales are actually through the United States. I only do United States. And all my parts and stuff are selling through them. And it faster turns, people. It's like, it's moving, it's good. It's not super huge, but I don't have a huge volume yet. That's what I'm gearing. That's what's making money right now. Service and used parts and frames and so forth. Those are your gold nuggets. That's what you should take to the bank. And if it's Tuesday, Shop Talk Tuesday. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'm going to go through the laundry list of who chatted and give shout outs. Precision e-bike, Josh over there. Oh, you did the MBDA. Yeah, I thought about doing that, but I was too busy painting the condo while I was out there. Maybe next year I'll chime in. And maybe we can hang out together through it and check out what that is all about if they do it again at the Bike Cabda Vegas. But yeah, they did have a huge series I saw on the laundry list of things of take advantage of the used market. So it loses the discussion there. But in any case, Let's see, Randy, you're a staple of coming in, as well as Josh of chiming in. Amando Paulo, that's thank you for chiming in. Appreciate it. You're a newer name, I noticed. Polite is newer, I think, but thank you for chiming in. Also, like and subscribe. That really helps. All the stuff, right? And Joe, I know you're listening and cranking out paddles, as well as talking about riding your trusty Trek 520 steed you have up there in Canada. I'm sure you're having a little bit cooler days than I am here, but I'm not complaining. It's just what it is. I enjoy the summers as well. Let's see here. And Levi, thank you for letting me know that my sound was, or I'm back and the sound was, it's internet, it's live, it's glitchy sometimes. Who knows? But in any case, I do appreciate you all chiming in and being a part of this community. If you're watching us in the replay, check us out next Tuesday, Shop Talk Tuesday at 10 o'clock. And if you're watching this replay too, sorry about the ads. In addition to, if you watch it live, you'll have less ads. You only have my embedded stuff that I need to either cough or drink or coffee or something. But in any case, put the comments below. Keep the conversation going. And if you had any of the topics that we talked about, any experiences, please put in the comments too. Either Bike Book, that's an interesting platform, or Bike Flights, or this new Greece, what's it called? I'm drawing a blank on it. Greece something. Industry Greece. If you have any insights on that too. But in any case, if you have anything to share, please share. We're a community here. Thank you for hanging in. I know this was more bike shop eccentric perspective today, but I hope you enjoy your local bike shops in your neck of the woods. If you're just an avid cyclist or have clubs and so forth, a lot of the stuff can translate to those shops and help them out as well, as much as they help you. And hey, we're all a community here. As us bike mechanics, bike shop owners, we're cyclists too. We like to ride, but we just need to maybe in the season when it's really hot and heavy right now, take a step back, reinsure and do things to make sure we are feeling the love and why we are doing this and putting all these long, hard hours into it. And in addition to take a mental break, because this can drive you nuts. You can lose your mind, and it's not good. So either take that extra long ride, take that extra long break, whatever you need to do to maintain a stable environment within yourself, as well as your work environment that you have whatever control over. Try to put some positivity to it, because that's where we're all here. Cycling's supposed to be fun. Cycling's supposed to be a great time. Try to temper down those individuals that are just too high strung and they're really bent out of shape because their bikes are not going to be done for another week and a half. See what you can do to help them out without putting yourself in a high stress environment. Positive work environments are huge. I've worked in several that are just immaculate and make me the person I am today. And that does not even include my parents' bike shop back in the day. Those are the experiences I've had afterwards. And then I've worked in a few that are just freaking hostile. And I'm glad they are burned down to the ground, not literally, but they are no longer a business because they were horrible. But, not going to go there. That just anyway. Positive. Be positive. Cycling's fun. Dang it. Kirk, your bike is almost done. I need to just put your chain back on and basically shed the wax off of this guy. And he's all cleaned up and ready to go. A couple ink caps, and we're ready for your 71st, buddy. 71st, ride your age. Yeah, I need to start doing that. I got to ride my age, because my age now is way longer than what I currently ride. So, I need to build up to it too. Maybe I'll join them and just do a leg of it. It's like, oh, I'm 54 miles in. I got to tap out. Maybe I'll do that. Ride your age ride. That's an idea. Have an event. Have a little thing or a club ride if you have insurance or anything like that, or maybe a club ride and ride your age ride and just have a path which is safe. Or here we're so lucky we have bike paths. So you can tell people you're 34, you start here. we all end at the same time. So you can actually do a little algorithm timestamp thing of like, okay, everybody starts at all these particular points, average about 12 to 15 miles per hour for each one. And you can do like a leapfrog for all these people or in and out kind of thing. It's like, oh, this is your turnaround spot if you're in your 30s. This is your turnaround spot if you're in your 40s. This is your turnaround spot if you're in your 50s. And we got a sag wagon for you if you're in your 80s. That kind of thing. Ride your age ride. That might be fun. I'll have to see if we can tie it into a pub or two and a couple local restaurants. It's all about, a big old place or donuts or something like that. Yeah, I'm belly power. I'm not e-power right now. It's a me power with belly power. In any case, yeah, we're going to get Kirk's bike. That's what I'm working on. If you didn't catch the first segment of this, this is what I was working on before the show started. I needed to get it done today for him. The guy is a very huge advocate to the cycling community of Greeley, Colorado. If you're in Greeley and if you drink beer, you know Kirk because he's an avid connoisseur at Wellworks there. But he's becoming a local legend, and the cat had a heart attack on St. Patrick's Day, and he's recovered in glorious fashion, and he's bound and determined to ride his age, and he's doing a training ride this Saturday. So we're going to get him there, and also the Poudre Trail that's from Greeley to Fort Collins is getting more complete. It should be in the fall, even more so. They're adding some more pathing to it. So what it sits now, when it's completed from Greeley to Upper Fort Collins, and it'll be 50 miles one way, so you can actually do a century. So that actually would be a great ride your age. Start at one point and just go back and forth, and that'd be kind of fun. Anyway, fun stuff. Yeah, this is a really classic. He's 12,000 miles put on this thing. I mean, it shows a little, but God. Good for him. I mean, he started riding this thing after he retired. Gives me hope. Gives me a lot of hope. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got to have some lunch and go take my nap and get back to work. In any case, I hope it's nice in your neck of the woods. Please comment below if you're watching this on the replay. And if you want to catch this live, it's on Tuesdays, 10 o'clock Mountain Time. And thanks again for hanging out with me. If it's nice in your neck of the woods, please go for a ride. Oh, Bobby, your last minute chime in. Caught me in before I signed off. Oh, I think you could manage a reverse age ride. Starting with 100 miles. Yeah. Subtract your age. Kids try 80s. That's awesome. Yeah. Oh yeah. I definitely would like a whoopsies. Oh yeah, you're in your teens. You go that way. We'll see you in about 4 hours. No, not mean, but anyway. Yeah. Well, ride what you can, ride what you're comfortable with. Arthur, thank you for chiming in at the last minute. Thank you for joining us. So yeah, again, Tuesdays. Check me out. Put me on podcast. If you're watching this, he just keeps on talking time. This is a podcast format, people. I got people chiming in you're just talking to me. It's that's what this was about. It's not just a short video. It's something, it's a hangout. Discuss. Be a part of it. Again, next time, have a wonderful day. Check out links below, blah, blah, blah. Click subscribe. Share the word. I'm still trying to catch up with Bike Farmer. You even know Bike Farmer and make him do a video with me. We could do a podcast or something. Maybe not. Maybe you don't like the Bike Farmer. That's fine too. As long as you like me. Just kidding. You guys have a great day. Thanks again. Until next time, from Love from the Bike Shop. Have a great day.